Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see Viper Keeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
There's a certain routine that we have here at the lair every weekend where most of the work gets done. There's an order of things, but things never go by order. Yesterday, Lori mentioned that we lost the light in one of the Jararaca's cages. So the Jararaca needs to be removed so I can replace the light fixture and get it back functioning. And you know, sometimes I think it's easier working with cobras and elapids, as crazy as they are, because Bothrops are just as crazy, and Bothrops have that added advantage of heat sensing pits. So they can adjust their strike in very intricate and rapid manner. So they're extra difficult to work with. So I see our friendly neighborhood Bothrops sitting in the back there in the dark. So the first thing to do is to try to remove the Bothrops and get it into the bin here, and close the lid and keep it secure while I work in that cage.
Would you like this to be handy?
Yes. Now, normally I don't use these except in extreme circumstances. 99% of the time I will use these for taking balls and hides and stuff out of the cage. But I consider this tool the weapon of last resort. If if an animal is totally out of control, this certainly helps control the situation so no one gets hurt. I don't like using this simply because when this clamps down on top of the snake, it thinks that, oh my God, this big mouth is biting me and I'm in a fight for my life. So they freak out, and I understand that. So that's how you have to think. Now, fortunately, the guys at Midwest Tongs who make this Gentle Giant made it in such a way that the force and load is spread out over an area. There used to be there's a type of tong that have a very narrow set of jaws, and you can literally cut a snake in half with it. So this is a much better design, and I actually refine it a little bit. I get some sandpaper, and it's sticky sandpaper, and I stick it on here and I cut it to size, because they coat it with this plastic which actually makes the surface very slick, and a smooth skin elapid, they're like greased pigs anyway. So this applies a little bit more grip to the situation, and when they wear out, I can just peel them off and put new on. No big deal. But I'm going to keep this handy just in case things get out of control, because this is a Bothrops, and if you want a snake to be out of control quickly, it's a Bothrops. Hi, are you smiling at me, huh? What are you doing? Okay, so without further ado, I see the pointy end of the beast right there, and to make things a little easier, I'm going to remove this, which already sets the snake off. This nice wide custom hook has just the right spread to help me. Now, okay, so the warhead is armed now. It knows that something out of the ordinary is going to happen. Now, I don't take snakes out and play with them on the, very much at all. If they come out of their cage, there's a specific reason. And, the more interactions that you have with the snakes, the more often you clean their cages, which they don't like anyway, the more chances you have to get bit. So, without saying much more, now, having a pointy end and the tail in a U shape is asking for trouble. That's why I let go, because that snake at that length could be on my wrist before I knew what hit me. Okay, now it's locked. Okay, as in their protocol, if a container has a snake inside, you always lay the hook on top. That denotes that you should not open that unless you really intend to.
Unless you want a very nasty surprise.
Yes, and Bothrops jararacas are a nasty surprise. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the glass, and I am going to unplug the lamp system here. Now these have old fluorescent bulbs, and I am no longer using fluorescent bulbs because they contain mercury. They're bad for the environment. This also burns 18 watts of power, and when you have lots of lights in cages, 18 watts adds up quickly. So the bulbs that I'm putting in the cages, like over here in this cage, these are LED lights. This is Miss Colette, the Colette snake. The LED lights only burn 7 watts of power and are much brighter than your fluorescent bulbs and much more environmentally friendly. So we're going to stop the camera now. I'm going to change out the light fixture, fix all that, and while I'm in there I'm going to tidy up the cage, and you'll come back for the exciting part, which of course is putting a very frantic Bothrops back into its home. Alright, as you can see, the cage has been serviced. The nice color balanced daylight LED bulb is installed, and we're ready to put the beastie back in there.
Yeah, look how much brighter the cage is compared to this one.
Yeah, and these are also 5500 Kelvin balanced daylight lamps, but the amount of lumens they put out is really less for more power consumption. So these are far more energy efficient, and they're really nice because if the snake happens to be out, which most of the time they're in hiding, you can at least see them and they look really good. So without further blabbling, I'm going to carefully release the crack in here. Oh, and we're already levitating up the side of the cage. If you cooperate, this can go very nicely. There you go. Go on, yeah, you're home. You're home, go. Come on, I don't want to goose your tail. This is supposed to be the boy. Bothrops, either I'm wrong, or Bothrops don't have big junk piles. Come on.
Oh, look at him. The head is like, touched me.
Yes, well, I want to shut the door
Oh.
and just be done with it. Yes. I'll feed you later to appease you. But for now, that's done. And we will sanitize the container.
That went quite well.
Yes. You know, you just never know whether it's going to go relatively smoothly or completely off the rails. I mean, look, the video that we did the other night, just moving the big squam out of the cage, the female, to you know, to clean up all the unfertilized ova and stuff. I mean, that was, you know, 3/4 of snake hockey, and Viper Keeper finally in the end for the win. But you just never know. It can go relatively smoothly. It can go completely off the rails. That's just part of the business.
I'm wondering if the female would have been as well behaved.
Well, you know, she has an old bull also, so we shall see.
Well, I guess we'll find out eventually.
Yep. Okay. On to the next task. We're back to our regularly scheduled program. It's January. It's once again time to start pairing animals up that I want to breed. There's not a whole lot of animals that I'm interested in breeding. However, I've been trying unsuccessfully to pair up the whitetail and produce live young. She just slugged out. There's a video coming up that you may have already seen that got published. She slugged out last September or so. You know, this pair has slugged out consistently over probably the past 5 years. 1 year I got one baby that was malformed and stillborn. So this is the last time I'm going to pair them up, and if this doesn't work, I'm just going to not try anymore, because you know, the male does very well over here in his little bin, and the female does well over there. Since she's got a very strong feeding response, you know, I don't keep them together. And as you can see, you know, these two animals are just stunning. They're just really gorgeous. He's your typical male. He's a sporadic eater. He just shed. I just pulled the shedding out this morning. So I am going to attempt to move this landmine over to the female's cage. I'm trying to do this guy a favor. But, you know, they don't see it as that. This is a bit stressful for him. And hopefully the female doesn't hurt him. Go ahead. You've tasted already. You know she's here. So just do me a favor and go in. Go on. Come on. She's there. She was fed. Uh-oh. But I've got her attention. Okay, miss, you have company, so treat him well. Yeah, and keeping two large bothrops like this in a cage like this is a bit tricky to feed, so I will keep them there for a few weeks and not feed in hopes that they hook up and they breed, and then the male will come out and you know, go back to where he normally lives the other 11 months of the year. It's unfortunate. I hope to move him into a regular type cage, but he just does so well in the tub. Other than that, he has shedding problems, so I'm hoping if I can get him into Vision 221, where he gets misted on a regular basis, which they hate, of course, because they're tropical snakes living in rainforests, so water is not their friend. But he just doesn't do well in these cages, so we shall see. I may move him back to his tub. I'm not going to clean up his tub. I'll just take the water dish out and redo that. And my final hope is to breed these guys, because they're awesome, and I don't recall anybody else, any zoo, any venom lab, anybody in the U.S. that have bred these before. So it's sort of a bucket list item that I would really like to do. You know, so far I have really sort of struck out. So the girl is sort of recoiling. Hopefully she will not do anything bad to the boy. They're just really beautiful Bothrops. Let me see if I can safely get a picture. You know, all the time when I'm working with these snakes, it's like, ooh, it's just so beautiful. I really love to take a picture of it, but right now I'm in strike range, so this is a real hazardous sort of task. You know, but if he was rattling his tail, I wouldn't be doing this. So far, he's pretty just tongue flicking, figuring out his surroundings. But I've done this like 3 or 4 times with him, so he should know her taste by now. You know, so he should be okay with this. It's not like other pairings that we've had where we've had to extract the animal right away because it looked like it was going to be eaten.
Look at the size of her venom glands.
Yeah, she's a big girl. As soon as he tucks his tail in the cage there, I will shut the glass and we will let them do their thing. Some of the other animals I want to breed are the Echis leucogaster. I'd like to try with Echis ocellatus with the remaining adult pair that I have. I'd like to breed the blue insularis and the green insularis and some death adders. Smooth death adders from Papua New Guinea, which we don't often see here anymore because U.S. Fish and Wildlife pissed off a exporter that I used to work with their stupidity and just wanting to catch a big fish, and they ended up not catching anything except they ruined the export market from Indonesia for the U.S. Alright, well, let's... You know, I hate these latches. Come on. Alright. Touching Bothrop's tails is really not advised, but... yeah, you see he turned and is like, what did you do?
How dare you?
So, it may be good for you, dude, just to sort of head to the hut for a while until your set gets dispersed, so you don't get into trouble with the big girl.
Yep, it looks like that's what he's going to do.
wonder if he actually realizes that I'm trying to do him a favor and get him laid.
Oh, he's herky-jerky movements.
Yes, yes, yes. This is
Very
a good,
good.
sign. This is like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
I smell a female.
Yup. And she may be in season to elicit that reaction. Question is she going to be receptive? You know, I don't know what the deal is. I've seen them physically hooked up. And like I said, there was one, you know, malformed baby. You know, I just wrap it up in one word: hope. I hope I'm successful. It would be nice to produce some of these babies. You know, I'm not producing common lance heads. You know, I don't have a mate for the Barnetti. Diporus I don't have mates for. The U.S. venomous market is just sort of falling apart. Mostly because some importers that are crooks ripped exporters off, and they no longer want to send animals to the U.S. and not get paid for them.
Well, that was encouraging. So hopefully once we leave them be, they'll settle in and
she won't kill him.
And she won't kill him.
Well, she hasn't the best 5, so chances are not high, but not 0 that she will.